I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. Like I said, I don't know what's going on. I'm watching myself on the Zoom, but I'm not logged into it. That's what they're saying, but I see everything else. So we're just going to move forward with Facebook Live. So good morning, everyone, and I'm glad to see everyone tuned in. So today I'm going to be teaching about nonprofit versus a LLC and building the right foundation. So those are the things that I'm going to be talking about because we have two types of businesses. And, you know, it's either a nonprofit organization, and I'm going to be explaining in details what that is, and also a LLC. Okay, so welcome to my workshop today. And I will be exploring differences between nonprofit and LLCs. And then you can also make the choice of what, you know, various you want. So I did now see in my group chat, I did download the lesson because every time I do a lesson, I also send it to you guys. That way we can go through the lesson together, or we can, you know, we could just have the same type of information. If you want to look back on it, you always can. So I did download that into my, into the group chats for Financial Freedom by Faith. And if you need me to send it to you individually, if you're not in the chat, I could do that as well. But I do, you know, I like to do worksheets too, to challenge you to certain questions and stuff like that. Good morning, Nina. Good morning, Jennifer. Good morning, everybody this morning. So I'd like to welcome you to the class. And again, I'll be discussing about what is a nonprofit versus an LLC, what's the difference, and what type of donations or fundings and things of that nature that you can get concerning each one. Okay. She still didn't get in. Okay, so we're going to move on. Okay, so I have a worksheet, and if you want to, you can basically answer these questions. You can actually answer these questions if you did not download. Good morning, Prophetess. If you did not download the documents, the PDF that I sent out. So one of the questions, and you can write it down if you want, is I want to ask what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about starting your own business or organization? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? And I want you to communicate with me this morning. Like, what is one of the first things that comes to your mind when you think about starting your own business? And I'm going to be looking in the chat to see if anyone can answer that question, because you have to have a vision first. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about starting your own business or organization? Good morning. Good morning, everyone. We're still trying to get people on because for some reason the Zoom is not working. Yes. Okay. All right. So nobody wants to answer. What's the first thing that comes in your mind? You could put it in the chat. What's the first thing that comes in your mind when you think about starting your own organization? So with me, it should start with a type of passion. Anything that you do should be a passion. Any business that you start, whether it's even a job that you're working on, it should be done with a passion. Well, sometimes the jobs that we work is not a passion because we don't have a choice. But when it comes to you choosing your own business, there's the first thing you should have is some type of passion on what you want to do. Whether it's you have a passion for children and you may want to open up a daycare, or you may have a passion for the elderly. Whatever type of passion that you have to also, you know, that's like your vision. That's your vision. So that would be your passion. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about starting your own business or organizations? I know a lot of you got plenty of ideas because most of you already got your own business already. So there had to be something that came to your mind, that a passion that wanted to drive you to starting this business. And it's always should be something that it should be a need for an individual. It should be something that's going to meet their needs, or something that they can gain out of it. So with your compassion and your vision of what your business is, it can always meet somebody's needs. So I had a compassion, and then compassions, you know, you can have multiple businesses. You can have a compassion for just helping people. So you may open up different businesses that will help other people, like daycares or Airbnbs. You know, you want to house people. It makes me feel real good that people could come to my house and they're actually comfortable about it. And you know, that the reviews that I get, it makes me feel good because it's saying, oh my God, my hospitality is something good. It's in meeting a need that someone wants, and they like it. So you want to have some type of compassion. So if you're a people person, you know, there's various of different businesses that you could start. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, what is your most compassion? I just explained to you about the compassion. Be compassionate about whatever you do, because when you're compassionate about it, no matter what, it's not about the money. It's about you being compassionate. You fulfilling somebody's dream, or you're fulfilling somebody's need. And that's what's important when it comes to having a passionate for something. That's a drive that's in you, that no matter what, nothing is going to stop you from doing that. So when you start your own business, I need you to have compassion, a drive. Ask God, like, what is my compassion? Some of you like to serve other people. Maybe you want to cook. A compassion, you have a passion to cook. That's something you love to do. So you're going to put all your good ingredients, and you're going to do everything you can to please that person or individual, because it's a compassion. Never start something or never do anything if it's not something that's coming from your heart. Because if it's coming from your heart and it's a compassion, one, you would never give up, and your clients will always be satisfied because you're going to be doing your very best because it's compassion. Okay? So number 3, and this is in the worksheet that I also sent over to you. And like I said, if you need me to send it to you individually, I can do that. Just send me a text. So now you want to imagine God gives you a clear vision right now. Now this is what I want you. Imagine that God is giving you a clear vision right now. What does it look like? Imagine right now that God is giving you a vision of you starting your business, of your compassion, something you're compassionate about. He's giving you a vision. Because you know what? He knows your compassions always as well. So he can add to that. If we love Christ, we have compassion for others. So the compassion comes from him. If he gives you a vision, he knows that's your compassion. I didn't know what my compassion was. God gave me the compassion to love people. I didn't know that. God gave me that. Once I changed my life over, I knew I had a compassion to help people and to go as far as I can go with no limits to help. And that's a compassion. So imagine God gives you a clear vision right now of what does that look like. And I would advise you, if you got a vision right now, to write it down. Because a lot of you say, oh, I don't know what my compassion is. I don't know what my business is. I don't know. You have to tap into God, and he will show you. But also, naturally, there's always a gift laying dormant in you that you can activate, but you just got to be aware of that gift and know that that's that gift and activate it by faith. by faith, because fear will always get in. Oh, how could I do that? Oh, I can't do it this way. Oh no, I don't want to step out and open up this store. Fear, no, just do it. Just do it. Especially if God says do it, do it. I love Abraham because whatever he did, he pitched a tent and he asked God for instruction. We don't have all the resources. He do. And if he gives us a vision, we need to go with it. Even though that may, at that time, you may feel like that's not your vision. You know God has a sense of humor. He has a sense of humor of doing things that we don't want to do. But it's his plan. And when we do it, the reward is great. So you may be thinking about opening up a beauty salon, and God may be saying, no, right now I need you to open up this transitional home. But God, I don't want to do that. Just do it. Because he will give you the desires of your heart. So let's do the desires of his heart first about what he wants us to do. And then he will give us desires of our heart of what we want to do. So you just imagine, and I hope some of you wrote that down, you know, the vision, just a clear vision right now. Number 4, if money wasn't an issue, now this is the catch-22. If money wasn't an issue, what kind of business or nonprofit would you start today? If money wasn't an issue, if it was, money wasn't an issue, what would you think of right now to start that business? If money wasn't an issue, and this is something you really need to talk to God about. God, if money wasn't an issue, God, you know I have an issue. Just do it. What is it? Just do it. If money wasn't an issue, what would you start right now? And I'm hoping that you all are writing this down. Oh, that's great. Francine wrote, what I'm seeing is for Saturdays to put out my small tent at the front of my house and put all my Christmas wreaths there. Okay, Francine has her own business and she sells Christmas wreaths. Okay, so she's utilizing, she don't even have a store. Well, I don't know if she has a store, but right now her store is the front of her house in her yard. And in my last lesson about multiple streams of income, I spoke about there is always a natural gift, something that you can look around your house right now, or something that you actually do, and you can start your business that way. If you love to cook, boom, if that's a compassion, you love to do it. That's a vision, that's a compassion, start cooking meals and selling them. Just so many things you can do. If you like to draw and your artwork is really good, start drawing and put your stuff out there so people can see it and buy it. It's just little things. We don't have to start from getting a big superstore and supplying a store and no, start with the little things, because business minded to start with the little things. We got to be grateful of the little things, and God will bless us of many. One of my first businesses was my daycare, and that was my very first business, and most of you know my story. I was desperate. My back was against the wall. I was to the point where I worked this job for 2.5 years, my only job that I ever worked in my whole entire life, and they fired me 2 weeks after I bought my house. I was desperate. And God said, well, didn't you always have that vision that you wanted to open up a daycare? You know, that goes back to the first question, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? So right now, everybody that's listening right now got some type of business in their mind that they want to focus on, that they really want to start. So at that time, if everything happened at the right time, I got fired from my job, God reminded me, didn't you want to open up a daycare? And I said, God, I did, but I couldn't open it up there because at that time I was renting, and I would have had to ask my landlord, which he probably would have said no. So that was the reason that stopped me. But he said, but now you got your own place. Let's get busy. And that's exactly what I did. So if money wasn't an issue, and money was an issue, but it wasn't an issue because God made it that it wasn't an issue. And when I first started my first business, which was my daycare, I didn't even have money to buy a fire extinguisher. Somebody brought that. Somebody bought radiator covers for me, and everything I needed, God supplied all my needs by having people just come in and purchase these things for me. So when you step out on faith and you may think, I don't have enough money, I don't have the money, you step out on faith, God will send the resources. So we cannot worry about anything. When I first got my first house, I knew God was the resource. I was only making $365 a week. That's it. Who gets a house with $365 making a week? I did. I still obeyed God, the vision, and I ran towards it. And by faith, I went looking for a home, and I wound up getting a home with a $365 a week check. So he's the resource, y'all. So I'm going to ask that question again. If money wasn't an issue, what kind of business or nonprofit would you start today? Write it down. And the last one, what problem do you see in your community? Now, this is very important. This, because you always got to solve your business, your organization always has to solve somebody else's problem. That is the key. What are you solving? What's making you unique? What is it that you're solving? So what problem do you see in your community or in the world, y'all, that you feel called to solve? Now that's deep. That's another thing you should write down. That's another thing you should write down. What problem do you see in your community? Do you see that there's a need? Our church have a food pantry. That meets a need. That meets a need. So you got to make sure whatever it's going to meet somebody's need. I do credit repair. A lot of people need that. That's meeting a need. I build credit. That's meeting a need. I help people start their nonprofits and LLCs. That's meeting a need to start. And in my nonprofit organization, everything that I give you guys, all my young adults, they get that for free. That's my nonprofit. That's my service that I'm giving back. That's not a for-profit. That's a nonprofit. That's something that you give out freely. So now we're going to get to the meat of this. Okay? We're going to get to the meat. Understanding the two paths. A LLC for-profit business. They call it a for-profit business because it's a for-profit business for you. Okay? That's something where you sell something and you make the money. You're not giving away anything free. So that's a business. An LLC or limited liability company is created to generate profit for the owners. It provides legal protection. Now, this is something that I did, and God just gave me a wake-up call. I had my Airbnb for 3 years, okay? And it's on different platforms. For 3 years, I've been operating this Airbnb in my lower level of my house. And I just got an alert just about maybe 4 days ago. And God was like, I need you to turn this is really a business. I need you to turn this into a business legally. So I did my LLC papers and I got approved the same day. I did my LLC. Because he said, now, if anything happened, because I have bookings all the time and it's really, really generating even more now. And he said, if anything happens, they're coming after your house and your car. And I said, well, God, thank you for having mercy for me for these last 3 years. But I got an alert. When God gives you alert, that means you got to act fast. Because when he alerts you and he tells you something, I call it an alert. Because he always have to alert me, and when he says something and it makes sense, And it's at the right timing. I'm like, I'm going to act quick on this. So that's what I did. So an LLC will separate you from getting sued personally, like your house, your car, the stuff like that. It separates that. But it don't stop there. In some cases, according to what type of business you have, whether you're opening up a residential home, a group home, transitional home, Airbnb, you have to have, even daycare, you have to have another type of insurance for it too. So you don't stop there, because homeowners insurance don't cover businesses itself. If you catch what I'm saying. Good morning, Renee. How are you? Good to see you. Okay, so an LLC or a limited liability company, LLC company, is created to generate profit for the owners. It provides legal protection, which I just explained, and for your personal assets like your home or cars are safe if your business is sued. Okay, so that's why we want to separate, okay? The benefits of an LLC. It protects personal assets from business, debts, and lawsuits. It builds credibility with clients, banks, and vendors. And flexible for single owners or multiple partners. Profit goes directly to the owner. Anybody have any questions? Well, I'm going to answer all the questions after, okay? After the lesson, okay? So it builds credibility with clients, banks, and vendors. Why? Because you have to open up business accounts and, things of that. And it's just building business partnership, okay? So examples of an LLC business could be a daycare, an Airbnb, but you can also have a daycare with a nonprofit also. But daycare centers, Airbnbs, or rental properties, hair business, cleaning companies, clothing boutiques, consulting services, all of those can be, with the Airbnb. With the LLC. So now we're going to go to what the nonprofit organization. A nonprofit is a mission-driven and exists to serve a cause or community need. Like I explained to you, it has to meet the needs. Organizations is broad. It's something that, it's a big organization, so it's big enough to dive out there to the communities and reach out to the communities and, with your vision and your compassion and see what's needed. What's needed. A lot of times when you write grants, you have to put in your proposal, you have to put the need, like what makes you unique, because your business has to be unique. It shouldn't be what everybody else is doing. If God gives you a vision, it's unique. Like the difference between my business is that I teach it, even though I know how to do LLCs and nonprofits for people and credit building and all that, but I can do that. But my main thing is the do-it-yourself method. It's something different. It puts me different aside than me being a hired person to do these things for you. So you got to have some type of uniqueness to your business that separates and makes people say, wow, I ain't never heard of, she going to teach you how to do it yourself? Yes, because I feel like education, that's what we need. We need to educate ourselves, and the more we educate ourselves, the more knowledge we'll find out, because once you educate yourself on one thing, then there's another door that's opening that you're like, wow, look at this. You don't know, the mind opens up when it's exercised. And I believe in educating myself on whatever it is that I do. When I started looking for my first home, I educated myself. I found out how to go about, what type of leaks to look at, what type of questions to ask. No matter what it is you're doing in life, and you're starting to educate yourself on that. It's very important. If somebody is sitting there and you going by everything that they say, no, you got to know, because you got to be the one to do the footprint. Oh, people is watching on Zoom? I'm in Zoom? How? People is watching on Zoom? That's what somebody said. Okay. Francine says, same here. I do it. Do it yourself. I love creating things. That's right. Right. We got to be unique. We can't just have a regular business because of competition. The competition. You know, so much competition. So you got to make your business look very unique. So a nonprofit is a mission-driven and existing to serve a cause or community need. It is not designed to make personal profit. See? They say they're still waiting in the waiting room. I don't know how to do this. I put in a text for them to go to. No. Oh, God. I'm sorry, you guys. You know, it's funny. It's funny. There's something wrong with my Zoom. I bet you ain't nothing really wrong with it. I just don't know how to operate it yet. I'm going to just keep it real with you. Because like I said, I'm looking at it. I don't know. And I've had it set up since 6 o'clock this morning because I try to prepare myself. And then when I went to click on join, it took me there again. And I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, thank God for Facebook Live. So the nonprofit, the key point and the difference, nonprofit, it don't go to you. The nonprofit, you don't make a profit offer. But I'm going to show you ways, tell you ways of how you can gain revenue from it. So a nonprofit is a mission-driven and exists to serve a cause or community need. It's not designed to make personal profit. So you have to make sure. And then another thing, it's like when the end of the year comes up and you have to do those budget. And when you apply for grants too, they want to see a budget. They want to see exactly what you're going to use for this, what you're going to use for that. And they want to see a budget. And they want to see how much you make for the year and different things like that. So somebody can't send you a donation for your nonprofit and you go out there and put it into your LLC or go out there and buy shoes. It's only supposed to be used for the nonprofit, okay? Revenue must be reinvested into programs and services. For example, if you're giving an event and it's a fundraising event, okay, you're not asking for any money, but you already got your event set up, and the people you're asking for donations to feed into this event, whether you need juices, whether you need cupcakes, whatever you need. These are things that you ask for, but you're not putting a price on anything. But I'm going to explain that to you as well. Okay, so revenue must be reinvested into programs and services, and nonprofits are usually governed by a board of directors. So you will know when you start your nonprofit organization, there is 3 members that you must have, and the members should not be one of your family members. Whatever. But anyway, you have to have 3 members. That could be you, and you could choose 2 others. They have to be over the age of 18, and you're supposed to have quarterly meetings with them, if not monthly meetings. I would suggest that if you're just starting your nonprofit business, that you will have monthly meetings to gather things together and put things together. But they the ones who make the decision. So one of them will be the treasurer. They're going to watch and be responsible that you don't take any money out of there and use it for something else. Okay, but we do need 3 board members as well to start the nonprofit organizations. Okay, so here's some examples of nonprofits. Youth mentorship programs. That's one thing that I do with my nonprofit. My nonprofit is called Each One Reach One Radical Generation. And financial freedom by faith is one of the things that I teach the youth how to start their own businesses and their LLCs and nonprofits, and they credit repairs and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that I do in a nonprofit, along with I just extending my mission, because I really want to go broad with this, to transitional homes as well. So, and you can always extend your mission, because when you first start something, you got a vision, and I want to say a smaller vision, but then once you educate yourself and you see there's other areas, and then your compassion starts coming out even more, then you can always expand it, because God always multiplies us. He never leaves us on the same level. You understand? I moved from daycare. Now I don't want no more daycares. So now I do the Airbnb. I want passive income now. I want things where I don't have to presently be. I don't have time for it, and at my age, I don't want it. So I have to have passive income, and I spoke about those also in the multiple streams of income. A passive income is something when you're sleeping, that money's coming in. So when I'm sleeping, that people are booking my Airbnbs. When I'm on vacation, the Airbnbs most of the time is paying for me and my flights. So you have to do everything business minded. For examples, I also spoke about getting cards with 0 interest rates, but making sure they have rewards. When you let those rewards build up, the last stay I had, it paid for my hotel. So I let my things build up, so when I'm ready to travel, I don't have to come out my pocket. I earned it through my credit card rewards. Everything should accommodate for something. For my Airbnb, I use that money to reinvest, but I reinvest in my home because that's part of my business. So if I need a door, I'll buy a door. If I need my patio done, I use that money to do my patio. I need my garage door. I need things done. And that's how you work that out. You situate everything separately. That's where it comes in at. Good multiple streams of income will take care of everything. So as far as, let me get back to the nonprofit, right? The nonprofit, so youth mentorship, homeless shelters, food pantries, financial literacy classes, faith-based outreach programs. Now, those are organizations, desires, visions that will meet people's need. You're helping the homeless. You're feeding those that need food. You're educating them with financial literacy. So these are some key terms. Charity. So I'm going to tell you what charity is, okay? Charity focuses on giving back directly to the community through donations and volunteer support. Focus on giving back directly to the community through donations and volunteer and supports. So for example, I'm going to use my son. He started his nonprofit. He gave out something to the community, and by him giving out, donations started coming in. Dunkin' Donuts started donating. People just was coming over from all over just donating. They didn't even know who he was personally, but they seen a vision, and they knew the Deuce Foundation is here at the library helping these children, teaching them how to do art, teaching them how to do t-shirts. And they didn't even know who he was, but it's the organization. They don't have to know who you are. You're the vision behind your organization. They don't have to know who you are. Okay? And they began to, give back. He gave, and now he could do his next event because he already have donations. And he didn't even ask for them. I mean, he did ask for donations, but there were people that just came and donated, period, without him even asking them for a donation. So that's what happens when you begin to go out in the community and you begin to help people. People will see you. And the next thing I want to get into is sponsorship. I love the sponsorship. That's when a business provides money, products or services to your nonprofit exchange for promoting or visioning. So if you have your nonprofit organization, it's sponsorship, I would advise you to link with another nonprofit organization and do a tick for tack. Well, I can do this for you. And normally it would be an organization like with me, I would go to an organization that's really, really above me. I'm just starting out. So I would go to them and I would say, hey, can we team up together? You know, can we team up together? I can help you do this, and maybe you can help me do that, and then maybe you could promote my business, you know, as well as I can tell a testimony of how you helped me. You know, that sponsorship is when a business provides money, products. You know, businesses was providing products to my son, the Chinese restaurant that he go and eat at on a weekly basis. They gave him a donation, and then he found out that they donate to different charity organizations and other type of nonprofit organizations. So it's when a business provides money, products, or services to your nonprofit. When my son did the T-shirts in the library supplied all the T-shirts. That's called sponsorship. That is something we need. We can't do a nonprofit organization by ourselves. If you want it to grow, you got to sponsorship with people. You have to put yourself out there. And you have to give free products as well. Your service, what you're doing is free. The money you're getting is donation. So a lot of people think, oh, and I used to be one of them, oh, I got a nonprofit, but how am I going to make the money? Charity, sponsorship. Okay, example, a local bank donates $5,000 to your youth program. And you promote their logo on the flyer. That's just what I said. That's what sponsorship is. That local bank gave me $5,000. They want promotion. Because they ain't costing them nothing to give up no $5,000. That's just a write-off anyway. Right? But they do want to help. So they gave me $5,000. Boom. So now on my website, I'm putting, wow, TD Bank gave me $5,000. I'm promoting them, which makes other organizations draw to them as well. So that's what sponsorship is. Now, partnership is when two organizations work together for mutual benefit and shared goals. Now, this, I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm a realist person, and I'm going to keep this real with you. We got 10 churches on a block. Between the next two blocks, we got 10 churches. And you mean to tell me all those churches can't come together and do one huge event? Nope. Everybody want to do everything separately in their own little church. And that's not partnership. Partnership is when two organizations or more work together for mutual benefits and shared goals. So I'm connecting to different people that's operated in the same type of thing as me. And I'm like, come on, let's join together. Let's do a real big event. Let's do something grand. Let's do something huge. And honestly, when it's something that's done that way, you don't even have to kick out much because you got 10 and 12 different organizations coming together. My son did one event and he had 5 different organizations helping him on that day. Automatically. So, but why we can't just come together and just do one big thing? It's not a selfish thing. It's a community thing. It's a community thing. We have to reach out. It's so much harm. The body has a whole bunch of different parts. And it's the same thing when we dealing with these or nonprofit organizations. How about all the daycares, nonprofit organizations getting together and doing a big event for the children in a park, having rides and different things like that? It's better to operate with 1 or 2, 3, 4, not even one, than you do it by yourself. You'll work yourself together. And that's what, all in a nutshell, sponsorship. partnership is. Example, your nonprofit partnership with a local college. Now, one thing I'm doing, I'm sending letters to all these local colleges in my neighborhood so I can freely, through each one, reach one radical, share my financial freedom by faith to them. Because a lot of times, and that's a good audience, there's a problem that needs to be met because a lot of these college students, a lot of them are in debt or they haven't made the decision on what their career wants to be. So I have a lot of space to go in there and teach them how to obtain business credit, how to, start their own businesses, and how to get rid of some of that debt that they already in. So you have to spread abroad. It's not just one thing. It's broad. So when you open up your mind and know about these different businesses and educate yourself. The reason why I teach a do-it-yourself method is because I want you to teach your uncle and your niece and them that's in debt. But like I said, a lot of my clients, oh, well, Dr. Angie, I don't have the time to do it for me. Fine. But I still give that option because I believe that education will open up more doors than you could ever imagine or think. And at our age, we need our minds to keep being running. And God said our latter days will be greater than our former days. So I know I'm living in my latter days now because I'm getting the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding of wealth. I've shouted in the church long enough, and I said, oh my God, I was very disappointed and very upset. And I said, God, I'm shouting over this house, but I still owe. I got a mortgage. Oh, God bless me with a car. Oh, God bless me with a house. And you still in debt on that. So let's dig deep and believe God that he will make us debt free because that's what he did. But we on the surface right now and we so happy because he got us a house that you got to pay $500,000 for or less, whatever it is. Or you got this car and your car note is $800 a month. No. It's a problem with that. So I said, God, I know it got to be better than this. Because I ain't satisfied. I ain't shouting and wearing out my heels because you got me a house. No, I'm grateful you did. But what are you supposed to do, Angie, by faith? What are you supposed to do? Dig deeper into the word. That you click with, okay, you got me this house, but what I got to do to attain it? I know I got to be a good steward of my money. I know I have to be a good steward of my business. You got to get tapped. Don't go on the surface of God's word. You got to get deeper. You got to get deeper. It's like a sore you got. And it's hurting you. You don't know why it's hurting, but now you want to examine that sore. And you want to see, oh, wow, is it hurting me because it's leaning on my bone or what? You got to dig deeper. You got to dig deep. Okay? So let's don't be on the surface because God is doing great things and he wants us to educate. Meditate on his word day and night and you should have good success. Wealth is in his word. Debt free is in his word. And if you can't afford it, don't purchase it because you'll be in debt. And that's the most mistake most of us made, So the examples of the nonprofit was charity, sponsorship, and partnership, okay? So funding streams for nonprofits. Now I'm going to tell you the funding streams for nonprofits. Nonprofits rely on various funding sources to sustain their mission. This includes donations, what we talked about, grants. So donations is contributing from individuals or groups who believe in your mission. It's about the mission. You're behind the mission and you're the vision. They don't have to see you. They don't have to know who you are. But if they see that mission, they're going to grab a hold to it, okay? Grants, free money from government agencies, corporations, or foundations. See? Now, if you got a good mission statement and it's unique and it's different, that's what I'm saying. When you build your business, make it something unique and different. you know, that the funders are going to say, yeah, and make sure it meets a need in your community. That's very important. It got to solve a problem. And not one set of people problem, the world problem. What I do is the world has this problem. So it's for everybody. Everybody. Fundraisers, events like banquets. Yep, you could do banquets, online crowdfunding campaigns, and raffles. Those are all fundraisers that you could use to do an event for your nonprofit organization. And then sponsorship. Businesses providing money or resources in exchange are visible. That's good. That's good. The sponsorship. All of it is good. But okay, so we're comparing LLC versus nonprofit. The purpose, make profit for owners. That's what the purpose of an LLC. It makes profit for you. Nonprofit, it serves a mission or cause. Okay, the next one is ownership. LLC is owned by one or more individuals. A nonprofit is governed by a board of directors. So, you know, the board of directors is the 3 members that you have to have in your nonprofit. The next one is funding. The LLC, you sell your products, whether it be lipstick, shoes, whatever, services. You know, you can have financial services that you charge for. Now, in my LLC, I charge for my services. In my nonprofit, I give these services free for the young adults. Okay, loans. Yeah, loans. You can get funding through your LLC through loans. Now that's another class that I teach is business funding. So once your business is set up, I can set it up for funding where you get business credit and then you can get loans. Say, for example, you want a beauty parlor or you want a daycare, but you don't have the money to buy all the supplies. That's where the business funding come in at. And a lot of people miss that because they start their businesses and they don't know. You could set your business up to get funding too. You could set your business up to get grants. It just don't apply for churches getting grants. No, it's businesses. Whatever type of business you have, you can get grants for. Francine said, I'm working on starting to help. You got a lot. You know what? You're doing a lot, and that's great. I like that. I'm working on starting a health ministry at her church. Her plans seems like it's the same as a non-profit. You could start that as a non-profit. Yeah, you could start that as a non-profit. And if you want to go about it, you could even have it personal for yourself. Or if like you said, you want to do it for your ministry, you know, maybe that want to be part of, you know, under the ministry umbrella, you know. But if that's your personal vision, your goal, boom, make it your business. And you can also help those in there as well. Okay, Francine? Okay. So the funding, you could get sales, services, loans, and investors. LLC and investors. Those are people that help you. So for the funding for the nonprofit, it's grants, donations, and sponsorship that we went over. So the profit usage, okay, for the LLC, owners keep profits as income. That's your income. So you profit, you know, because that's your income. I had my daycare. That was part of my income, my personal income that I paid my bills with. That's the difference. That's an LLC, okay? And now the nonprofit is the tax exempt with IRS approval. So That means you don't have to pay taxes on it. It's tax exempt. But you know that money goes all into your organization. Now, there's 2 steps when you're building your nonprofit organization. Like, I can build your nonprofit organization, boom. Now, the next level is tax exempt. So you don't have to pay taxes on your organization. So there's 2 sequences to that. A lot of people came to me, oh, well, I got, my nonprofit. Oh, yes, a nonprofit. Yeah, but is it tax exempt? Because that comes under a whole different other category where you have to fill out either short form or long form to actually be tax exempt. And I also do that as well, or I can show you how to do it. Okay. So, now my final reflection. Okay, look back at the passion or idea you circled in the workshop. Now, did any on the worksheet? Did anybody do that? Because we going back to that. Did anybody do the first one? And it says, what is the first thing? Now, maybe now these questions could be answered. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about starting your own business or organization? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? So now it's asking, look back at the passion or idea you circled in the workshop. Consider whether it fits best as a for-profit business or a nonprofit organization. So according to question 1, does whatever your vision is, your compassion is, your business is, do it fit in as an LLC or a nonprofit? Think about your long-term goals and how you want to make an impact on your community. So think about your long-term goals. It don't just stop there. Your long-term goals of what you really, really, really want to do. How you really want this organization to turn out. Like I told you, I started off with the Financial Freedom by Faith, but then I just expand my mission. I expand my mission to toy drives. I expand my mission to clothing drive. And that gives, when it's time for me to write my grants, I can hit every category for that, not just one thing. So my mission expanded as my mind, as I looked at this and I said, you know what? There's other needs and areas that you can tap into, Angie. And, and it brought it for the community. And funders will definitely fund that for you. So both LLCs and nonprofits are powerful tools for building your vision. The key is choosing the right structure to match your purpose. So now we can do some questions and answers if you like. Just put it in the chat. Oh boy, from what I'm seeing, some of the people still was sitting in there on. So do anybody have any questions? Any questions? Okay, so if nobody has any questions, I do this class every first Saturday of the month at 9 a.m., usually on Zoom and Facebook Live. I normally do it on Zoom. I started doing it on Zoom, but then I decided to do it on Facebook Live. So I'm sorry for the inconvenience about my Zoom information, but I did tell everybody to come over to Facebook Live, which was already on the flyer as well. So I hope, if anybody wants to reach out, you have my information. Okay, so it says, there's this church in Jamaica that we donate to. Okay, there's this church that you donate to. Okay, that's good. Yeah, you could donate. You could donate. Okay. We mainly give medical stuff like wheelchairs and yes. So the donation, so that definitely falls under a nonprofit organization. Definitely falls under a nonprofit organization. So that's a business within itself. You mainly give medical stuff like wheelchairs and clutches. Yes. Yes, and I would advise you to go to some of those medical, because what people don't know is that people are waiting for you to come in there with your tax ID number and prove it to them that you have a business. They are waiting to give you stuff. They are ready because it's a write-off. And every business has to do it anyway. So they're waiting. So if you're saying, oh, no, go to that local corner store. Go to that, go to the medical center that sells the wheelchairs or whatever. Go everywhere. Walmart, everywhere. All these places. They can help. They can help. So don't just assume that they can't help. But you got to have a mission, and you got to be doing something. You know, you got to start somewhere. So you have to start your nonprofit already, have all the paperwork and stuff before you can go out to these different vendors. But they're waiting for you. My son went into the Chinese restaurant. He had no idea. He put up a flyer in there, and it was like, oh, this is what you do? And boom. So his next event, he probably going to have some fried rice. Dunkin' Donuts donated $300. You know, so don't assume. Take action. Take action. Take action. Yeah, you could tie it in, or, you know, you could do two things. My advice to you, if this is your vision and your baby, then that's something you birthed. Put it in your name. Now, on the second hand, you could still bring it, you know, put it to the church and put it under the church. For example, when I first joined my church, I had each one reach one radical generation, and we would go into the prisons, and I would do a lot of community work, feeding the hungry. That was mine. But when I joined Second Chance, that was put under their umbrella. It wasn't that they owned it, because they didn't. But I put it under their umbrella so we can all join together as sponsorship and partnership and do it. So you can do it that way, Francine. You could do it that way. And you could still help those in your church. A service is a service. It's not like who it belongs to. But if that's your baby, that's something you birth. You know, and then you can also turn it into an LLC as well. My nonprofit and my LLC meets the same needs. But there's just one that's a nonprofit that I charge for, and the other one I give away the free services. So you could do both as well. But that's what I would suggest. Yes. So, yeah, you got my number. You got my number. Give me a call. So do anybody else have any questions? I'm assuming that you guys know. I hope you guys have the vision now, at least if anything, to know what you want to do and to separate the two, because sometimes we get things mixed up. So we have to know the difference, and we have to know what our vision is, in order to know the difference between an LLC and a nonprofit organization. Yes, So if nobody else has any questions, I'm really done for today. So nobody have any questions, I can tune out. This you can always go back to and watch, you know, on my page, this class. Amen? Father, in the name of Jesus, I ask you right now to download every entrepreneur the vision, the passion, and the uniqueness that you will set aside from any other business that exists, Father, and give them the power and the strength and the faith to know that you are the resource and that they can do all things through Christ who strengthens them. Good info. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, and thank you for joining, Francine. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So in Jesus' name, amen. that God will give you witty ideas with his vision. And remember, don't do what you want to do. Do what God tells you to do. And then he will give you the desires of your heart. Thank you, Reverend Adrian. Yes, yes. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything, just reach out to me. Just reach out. Most of you on here have my information. So God is good and he is worthy to be praised. And take action. When you start to get information, take action. Take action. Take action right away. 3 weeks, 3 days it took for my son to do his nonprofit. He had his business account, his nonprofit organization up and running, and he did his first event. In 3 days, all this happened. A week later, he did his first event. This is not even a full month yet, and he's working on his 3rd event. And he has sponsorship, connections, partnership, and all that. Just take action. It's your time. It's your time. Your latter days will be greater than your former days. And have a blessed day. Amen. Amen.